Welcome to the Source Stacks podcast, presented by YouTubers Insko
and TKC. If you enjoy the podcast, be sure to check out our socials.
and make sure to check out the video versions on YouTube.
Enjoy the podcast.
Right, so we're here today with SadBois. If you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, how we doing, everybody? I'll start off. My name is Peter. One of three.
I'm Georgie, or George, whatever you want to go by.
And I'm Eli.
When we're not sad, I'm teaching special education elementary school, first and second grade, and it's so much fun, and that's kind of like my full-time job. And we do this on the side. And you're also
I am also a teacher. I'm a social studies teacher in high school. This year, I have freshmen, so I'm sad all the time. But I love my job. I love what I do, and we do that during the day, and then at night we turn into SadBois.
I am a part-time teacher, currently doing guitar and some sports classes at an after-school program, and I'm looking to get, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking for my full-time, but if I can get a part-time, it'll work too. Anything in the math world. And I do the production, so I'm the SadBois producer.
That's a full-time job.
So yeah, I mean, I guess so. I guess that's my full-time.
Nice. I did not know that SadBois was just full of teachers. I did not know that at all. Nice. So talking about SadBois yourself, like as a music group, what's the kind of music that you do? What kind of got you into it? And like, what would you kind of say is your style? I think that's a good starting point for the whole music stuff.
Well, it's kind of like all over the place. It's whatever we want to do, but there definitely is a theme recently of kind of merging a band sound with elements of guitars and drums, and really kind of making it like where I guess the funny story is we were all in a band together back in high school.
Yeah.
And George is actually my brother. Wow. Peter is basically our brother. We've known each other for like 20 plus years now. So I guess the story behind, like, we always knew we wanted to do music because we were doing music together. But finding our way into the EDM realm, I guess, brought a way to merge these melodic bass / future bass elements with the band type feels. And we were able to kind of, I guess, find our way in the Rocktronic realm, I guess is what they're calling it. But it didn't actually start out that way. It was really just about making melodic music and adding in whatever we thought would fit nicely in the composition to kind of genre merge and find our stylisms in creating a unique sound. And it was really like, I guess, through just experimentation that we saw that you could do that type of an emo sound, that type of a rock sound, that type of a pop punk, bring them all together in a unique way, but still also bring that nostalgia that's found in like progressive house and melodic bass, and kind of bring it all together so that listeners of both genres can kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
Bridge the gap between EDM and the rock world and the alternative world. So Lonely Nights is kind of like I would say, nicer way of bridging the gap to where you can still enjoy it like an EDM track, but it's also subtly making that Rocktronic sound. Mm-hmm. So there are ways that we're trying to experiment and find a nice way to go about bringing a new, unique take on merging it with, that might be in drum and bass, it might be in progressive house, it might be in melodic bass or chill step, however you want to put it. It's just super cool to merge all these together.
No, I think the whole like you being in a band thing makes a whole lot of sense, especially with the whole Rocktronic thing and mixing genres and stuff.
Because I was going to ask you guys on that topic too, like obviously everyone knows kind of about the Rocktronic sound. I guess if you want to dive a bit into that a little further, like what type of artists did you guys grow up listening to that like have kind of inspired that sound, and kind of just diving into that sort of topic, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking for myself here, but I'm sure the boys share in the same roots of music. It was a lot of rock, a lot of pop punk, and those sounds have influenced us so far on this journey that we have embarked on. And it's kind of bringing back the nostalgia that some people have of those older, really gainy, like Misery Business, Jamie All Over, some 41 songs. You know what I mean? Like bringing back that nostalgic feel of what music used to be, but then giving it like a refresh and blending it and creating this hybrid sound that we do.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the artists that we looked up to throughout this journey of creating this Rocktronic sound of ours were the band Camino. We were heavily influenced by the band Camino. Said the Sky, the whole Sentiment album really drove us to this scene. And there's others like Dabin does it really nicely. He has some great songs with Low Spirit, and when he collaborates with ILLENIUM, Hearts on Fire, just great Rocktronic type music done in their way. But yeah, we're all over the place when it comes to the artists that have inspired us, and it's just awesome to really take from their productions and kind of throw them into ours and see how we can make it more SadBois.
I completely forgot to ask, like, with the whole band, who, like, if you're all in a band, who did what? Like, who's maybe on the drums, who's doing guitar? Like, I want to know who did what, just like out of curiosity.
So my brother and I, Eli, we both grew up playing piano. My father is a chorus teacher, and he teaches piano on the side. So he taught us piano, which phased out a little bit. But I'm the drummer of the band, so I do a lot of the drumming.
I grew up trained in piano. I played a bunch of piano.
Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, I played Carnegie Hall in the 10th grade. How old are you in 10th grade?
Oh my God.
Like 16, maybe?
Around there, right?
Yeah, right. Around that age, I got the opportunity to play at Carnegie Hall, and then I believe it was a few years later, towards entering college, is where I taught myself how to play guitar, and I've been doing that ever since.
Yeah, nice.
I was a percussionist for 10 years or so, I guess, all throughout. And I also did keyboard, piano, like my bro said. And but Peter is definitely the most talented piano player out of the three. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean,
you play a little bass too.
Yeah.
A little bit of bass, but I consider my DAW my best instrument, I guess, because I'm really comfortable with what I do, and I just really enjoy producing.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. I think that you guys being in a band is all that is dope and whatnot. I think one of my big questions I have though is like kind of like, how did you guys even form the band in the first place? Like overall, like the first time you guys met each other, formed the band, like started SadBois, like what was kind of the whole story behind that?
Yeah, so we've known each other for such a long time, 20 plus years, and I've known him out of the womb, but we've always done music, whether it was in a band or DJing. But when we formed SadBois, prior to that, we were doing music under a bunch of different names that I will not go into.
Fair enough, yeah.
But when we formed SadBois, it was actually we did Twitch DJ streams, and we chose a theme, and we would just DJ within the theme, whether it was like Disney nights or like pop nights or EDM nights, golden age stuff, and we developed this following on Twitch, which we were very fortunate to be part of, and we were a part of a bunch of different communities that we're still very close with today. But while doing that, Eli was producing on the side, and we would just release music, just for fun. we still do that today, but we were just releasing it for fun, see if anyone can relate to it, and we were very happy to see that people were, and that's kind of how it went from just a hobby to it being like, okay, let's do this and let's go full throttle and join together and really kick things up a notch.
Obviously, the whole band thing, I think, is definitely the core. I feel like to the whole SadBois thing. So with the whole like being a trio, doing the whole Rocktronic stuff, would you say there's like a lot of benefits with having like three minds on a project, and also what maybe like the challenges? Is there a lot of conflicts or like any arguments you kind of have about making tweaks to songs or whatever?
Luckily, we've never had anything happen like that. But I mean, maybe. Well, which one do you want to?
It's like
which one do you think?
It's like little stuff,
It's like a brotherly type.
Oh yeah,
like it's like a wake up in the morning and be like, I don't like you today.
Yeah.
I guess that's the fun of it all. We have that brotherly connection.
Yeah.
But no, nothing has ever led to like not finishing something. But we'll get under each other's skin because it's like I mean I've known him my whole life, but I'm the younger brother. But I feel like recently, I mean, the only reason why it gets like that is because we have to make some decisions here and there about what we're gonna do with the song and a vocalist coming on it or pitching out to labels, having things done well prepared. Maybe we're not all available 24/7, being that two are teachers and I'm only part-time. But we found a way where we connect very well with one another and we know how to get things done throughout the day. But I guess going back to like the production stuff, no, it's gotten pretty good.
Yeah,
this year we're super confident in. I guess I can do a lot of things on my own, but I still need my boys, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's super like I'm very thankful. Like I know that I have to earn a living, but I have a lot of free time at the moment, being only part-time. So I can produce things out and really work on concepts to at least have hanging around so that I can come back to it and really dive in deeper at a later point when I have a lot of free time. But being that I have a lot of free time, that means I can just create. And it's the best thing that I could ever ask for. But, you got to pay the bills eventually. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what else? Was there anything I left out of like the process is kind of just like George will help with some drumming stuff because we were both drummers. We will incorporate Peter's guitar work. You even played a couple things on piano sometimes and you send over ideas, maybe like voice notes, maybe like little samples we'll find. We're also huge advocates. It's a struggle or rather it's a real talent to be able to find a sample or a high quality sample and really incorporate it in a way where you're making it your own in a production. I have nothing against like Splice and these companies. I mean, you can get super creative, but for the most part, we do a lot of the tracking out recently on our own with just playing it on a MIDI keyboard and then going about it. Yeah, with the guitars and everything. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm a huge advocate for any way someone is able to become creative and be able to produce.
Yeah. And Eli, he's called the mad scientist in the group. He's known as either mad scientist or hair flip god.
Hair flip Eli.
I don't know where he got that, but I think it was actually from Mage Fest. Because he had really long hair then, and all he would do was flip it, and the whole chat was going nuts.
The hair.
But we give him a lot of credit because he's been producing for over 10 years, and going from progressive house to future bass to then including both of them, and then really honing in on this Rocktronic sound. I think that without Eli, we would honestly be very sad boys. But he's amazing, and me and Peter do everything that we can to make his life easier, whether it's tracking guitars, tracking drum work. but yeah, and all jokes aside, from the beginning of that little spiel, we barely fight. We're a brotherhood, and we really connect very well when it comes to music and going about certain things. And yeah, we're also very fortunate to have Ryan, Mr. Party. If you guys, he's our manager, and he really keeps us in check too. So
one thing I kind of want to address too is that, like, I think it's really cool that you guys are all so close to each other, and two, you guys are brothers, which I didn't even know. I guess kind of from that perspective, like, does that make things kind of easier to work with you guys being so close, or does it make it a little bit maybe more difficult to give criticism sometimes if, you know, there's something that you maybe want to change in a song or something along those lines?
I would say it's both. You know, we all grew up in the same town, and luckily Peter is like 30 seconds down the street. But then again, me and myself and him, we're both teachers, so we are out of the house from, you know, early in the morning till around 4 p.m., 5 p.m. And yeah, I think that's the biggest struggle, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, if you want to do something, you'll find time for it, but sometimes time just escapes you. So, you know, I'm just going to reiterate some points. You know, we have Elias is the main man, and we're fortunate right now at this position in life where he's able to have the part-time but be full-time music. That is the key. And George and I, again, we do everything we can to help him out, but we're just we're a team, and that's what it comes back to, you know. And not, you know, we do everything we can to support each other, and we keep each other going.
Yeah, nice. A lot of teamwork going on, which is good. I feel like everyone kind of plays their role as well, which is really nice. I was just thinking, like, why SadBois? Why the name SadBois? Where did that come from? Did you have like any other names that were like maybe gonna be a thing? Like, I want to know sort of like what inspired that.
SadBois, honestly, I think it just came from, you know, which is funny. We as much as we love performing, we also love going to concerts. And back in the day when ILLENIUM was touring with Trevor Said the Sky and Dabin, they were called the SadBois bands of EDM. And then, as we all know, their projects really went their own route, and they're doing amazing stuff. But they kind of like retired that kind of performance that they used to do all together. I mean, they still do it from time to time, but you know, ever since then, and after seeing them in concert and seeing this live aspect of, you know, how you can go about DJing, it really inspired us. And I think that's kind of like where we chose, you know, the name SadBois, because we wanted to continue that kind of, you know, like that trio, because they were like the trio, and that's kind of like how it kind of developed. And, you know, we also write sad music, so it was very fitting.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Do you remember anything else?
No, I think that was the really big reason why.
We did definitely, like, I guess, find a way to create sad but also melodic and very beautiful melodies, and capture, I believe, a vibe that fits the name. But we may also seem happy and outgoing and whatnot compared to what the name is, but I feel like it fits the aesthetic very nicely.
Yeah.
But we definitely all have our own, you know, personalities that might be different than sad, which is, you know, something for the fans to find out, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is too, is that with like the sad type of music, I feel like a lot of people can use it as a way to kind of like almost lift their mood in a way, and can kind of use that sort of sad energy and just lift their days up.
Yeah.
But honestly, one question I have before we can move on to the next topic, as a DJ myself, like, how on earth do you guys make like 3 people DJing even work? Because that's kind of like another topic on the trio thing too. Because, like, you know, you're obviously most of the time gonna only have 2 decks, right? So like, I'm kind of curious like how you guys work that in terms of your stage presence, and all of that.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have these boys with me on stage, because I usually do all the DJing, but when it comes to Eli and Peter, they are unbelievable when it comes to crowd work. I mean, this guy is like in the crowd. Like you can't even find him on the stage half the time. He's like in the crowd. This guy's like, he takes his like hat off. The hair's going everywhere. So we're very fortunate to not only, you know, it be me DJing, but their stage presence really helps bring a lot to the table. And when we look back at videos, it's so funny because there's just some chaotic things happening on stage. But yeah, that's kind of like how we go about it.
Do you ever see yourself doing like maybe in the future doing like a SadBois band, kind of like, you know, ILLENIUM's been doing his like live tour kind of thing? Do you ever see yourself doing something like that, or maybe is it just like a DJing thing?
Yeah, I mean, we recently just did like a full band set where we all were on the instruments for like 40 minutes. So every once in a while you can catch us doing that, but for the most part it's it'd be a hybrid mix. Yeah, like so like, you know, we'll hop on the instruments for a song or two, and then we'll go back to DJing, and then we'll go back to the instruments. So it's like a back and forth. But yeah, I mean, ILLENIUM is one of those guys who, you know, he's a huge inspiration for us. Just the way that he's doing things. I mean, I think everyone is, you know, either inspired or wants to emulate what he's doing. You know, but we put our own little twist on it, and we rely on the crowd to really get us going. And, you know, I'm very lucky to say that every performance that we've done, the crowd has been absolutely incredible. So we really owe it to them to give us the energy.
Yeah, nice. I think, like, before we go on to kind of talk about the EP and everything, just while we're talking about ILLENIUM, the official remix, right? You done an official remix with Neo on Other Side. We want to know how that happened, how that came about. I'm sure that's a huge moment for you guys as well. Tell us the story of that.
So let's see. I met Joe Neo. I can't. How long have we known Joe? He's such a great guy. Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a talent too. He's definitely on the up and coming. And let me tell you, I feel like we really were able to merge our two styles together cohesively, in that where it's still very. I mean, it's really cool. It's like melodic bass, but then it's also like liquid D&B or D&B, however you want to put it. And it's Rocktronic. It's got the subtle chugs and big cinematic buildups and everything. So great, and it was so easy to work with him too. The dude is such a talent. He's on Ableton and makes fun of me all the time because I'm a Logic user, which a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
But Joe is just the best. And what else was I gonna say? Do you want to say like how it came to be?
Yeah.
With like when we started, we just came up with the idea.
It's so how it all played out was we're all part. We at the time, Charlie, Vendetta, and Neo, we were all part of the same management group, and we saw that Charlie's got picked up, and we were very proud of him. That was an amazing. Charlie's Vendetta, but he did an amazing remix to the Motionless in White song, and we already had the contact. So us and Joe were like, you know what, fuck it, let's just try and put something together for one of them, and we settled on Other Side because we really resonated with it. And Joe is very like, he's like very into this like space-tronic type kind of like vibe that he has going on, and he likes these airy vocals, and that vocal really connected with him. So Peter broke out his guitar and quickly wrote a riff, and we sent it to Joe, and he was like, all right, we're gonna work on this for the next day, and we finished it in like 2 days. And we sent it off to Ryan, our manager, to send off to I forgot one of ILLENIUM's managers, but we didn't hear back for a while, and you know, we were like, all right, we tried, but then they hit us back and they said they'd like to sign it, and it was so cool seeing how many remixers were on the album, because we saw a lot of, you know, great friends on it and up and comers, and it was so cool that ILLENIUM really gave all these, producers a shot. And we were very fortunate to be part of, that album. And it's a great song. And Caden's actually reaction really,
Yeah.
he really made us so happy, because we were, we know, we're mostly in this Rocktronic scene, but, when you were like going crazy over the snare, because I remember that you love the snare, and it was just a fun time, and we're very thankful for how it all played out. And
I know he mentioned it a little bit, but I really feel like Nick gave everyone a chance to showcase what they're going to be doing, and just give a platform to a bunch of talented artists, and we were just honored to be one of those. I mean, it was incredible. I was screaming my head off to Joe on a FaceTime call or a Discord call, and he was losing his mind too, and we were just so stoked. And I feel like it just made the 2023 for us.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you definitely should be proud. It's I agree with the whole, like, when I looked at the sort of track list for all of the remixes and stuff, I was like seeing so many familiar names of like artists who are a little bit sort of, smaller and sort of up and coming. I think it is nice the fact that it's all kind of given a spotlight on that, and I feel like you guys definitely deserve to be amongst that as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, seeing everything that you've been doing recently, seeing all of like the stuff getting signed and all of this stuff, it's really great to see. So
Thank you, man. Yeah, I think another thing just to say regarding that, don't be afraid to just shoot your shot with things. That's how we've landed a lot of different things. Like the Two Friends remix, that was us just shooting our shot, throwing it up on SoundCloud, and being like, all right, let's see what this does. So we're really strong advocates for just making either bootlegs or remixes, throwing them up on a platform and just trying to get some attention to it, because good things come from it. And yeah.
I think the thing is too, for myself, like a lot of what I've earned from my platform as well has been just from simply like cold emailing or just simply shooting your shot, because you never know what to expect. Like the worst that could happen is what they just say no, or they don't respond. There's nothing that can really negatively come out of that.
Exactly.
So honestly, respect you guys a ton for that. I guess next up we can kind of talk about, you guys let us know right before the podcast, you guys have an EP coming out. As of the time of the podcast recording, one of the singles would already be out. So I guess if you guys kind of want to talk about, the meaning behind the EP, the process of kind of going through it all.
Yeah, it's we take a lot of thought and a lot of reflection to come up with, names for things, and names for EPs, and names for songs, and we settled on Bloom as the name for this EP. And the thought process was that, throughout life, throughout your journey, and each person has a different journey, you encounter obstacles and challenges, right? And they say that each obstacle and each challenge makes you a better person because you grow from it, right? What does a flower have to do to get bigger, right? It has to go through some sort of hardship, right? It has to bloom into something bigger. So that was the idea behind it, right? That everyone has their own struggle. Everyone goes through things of their own in life. And when you make it out of it, right? It's when you make it out of whatever you're dealing with, you bloom into something stronger. You bloom into something bigger. And that's the whole idea of the EP and the songs that are within the EP. It's that growth. We have recently we've been putting a lot of emphasis on butterflies and sunflowers. And those two things really remind us of metamorphosis, of change, right? Your ability to, take something negative and turn it into a positive, right? And grow from it. And, like I said, that's the whole idea of the EP, is that, life's journey, it sucks, right? It's not always great, but what you do with that suckiness, it makes you into a really, really great person. So take the suck and then run with it and, get stronger from that.
I like the whole meaning behind that. I think like when it comes to having a project, whether it be an EP or an album or whatever, I think it's always so much more meaningful when there is actually a meaning behind it instead of it just being like a collection of songs that you made, Would you say like all of the songs on the EP also kind of portray that story?
So the title track, Bloom, is sung by our good friend Undi. And we've worked with her countless times. In our opinion, she's one of the greatest female vocalists within the scene. Her songwriting ability is incredible, and when we pitched to her exactly what Peter said, she really outdid herself. We really truly thought that nothing could beat Yours Truly in our catalog, but I think this one really, songwriting wise and just the production around it, I think it really hits home for a lot of different reasons, stuff we've gone through. So Undi's on one of them. Oliver the Kid is on another one, nice. Who we've, grown very, sorry, my dog, grown very fond of through the Sentiment album and all his collaborations with Trevor. But that one is very it's a fun track, and it brings a little bit, instead of like the more melancholic, sad type lyrics, there's a lot of fun stuff in it to really boost some spirits. But that one is the second one, and then the third one, which is coming out in April, is with our good friends from Nashville, Sam Varga and Natalia Taylor. Really big artists within this pop rock scene that we were very fortunate to work with. And I think when it comes to the vocalists we like to choose people that normally aren't in EDM at all. And we like to bring some new faces to the scene and showcase, what their passion is. But yeah, then you want to go into a little bit of the production on the...
Yeah. I guess I would say, yeah, you're absolutely right. Love Song Underwater is definitely more upbeat and more of the happier side. They all have a vibe of a band.
Yeah.
So
sorry, Caden.
It's still gonna have EDM drops and the influence, but it's definitely like we are a band playing. We really wanted these songs to sound like we're a band playing them, even though they have 100 layers and I need a symphony to actually play them. But I mean, it's still very cool that like you can play this out as a band, and we actually played these songs at a little pop-up show that we did recently in the city at a place called the Delancey, and it was super amazing to finally hear those songs live, and we're super proud of the mixes, and I feel like they're all unique in their own ways in vibes, but all have similar ways on how the buildups are done and this and that. But ultimately, I feel as if Bloom is super emotional. I really have to agree with my brother. Yeah. There's a reason why we're going to pick that one as the title. I feel like all three of them together are super strong on their own, and that's why they're all going to be singles, and they'll most likely be Waterfall together. Kind of like I think Midas does that all the time. It's going to be great, though, because I feel like it really showcases, at least what I've been saying in a couple of interviews this year. I really do believe that, and again, I know that I'm always going to be growing and I'm always learning every day, but I'm super confident in starting a project from start to finish. And I really am proud of and will be backing everything moving on forward. Like I'm super just so stoked and proud of everything that I'm making with the boys. And I just feel like I can't keep holding on to it. And I need all of these to come out. But it's going to be so I guess I can talk a little bit about Next Life just really quickly.
Yeah.
It will be the first one that will most likely be out. Well, I'm saying most likely, but it will. Um, so Next Life will be the first one, and it kind of picks up off that theme with, I guess, the skeletons, right? Because it's about I'll see you in the next life. Like it didn't work out. It was a toxic relationship, right?
Yeah.
It kind of is similar to R&J, which is cool. It might not be the exact layout where R&J explored that more of a screaming back layers to accompany the vocal. And shout out to Mano because incredible vocal. But with Next Life, I'm super stoked as well because it also has a similar theme, but in the way in which it's actually a duet. And it's going to be Sam as a verse and a chorus, and Natalia as her own verse. And then they kind of join together and they tell this story together. And I just feel like it's the perfect opening, but don't check out on the other tracks. I feel like it's a great storytelling through all of them, and we wouldn't be as stoked as we are if we didn't know what they sound like. So I promise. It's gonna be a great time.
To it.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think we were talking to Aria Affinity on the last episode as well, and we were talking about the importance of songwriting and the importance of verses and whatnot. It seems like you guys are clearly putting that effort forward, because like if you guys can expand a little bit more, like just in terms of a song generalization idea, like how important do you guys think that like songwriting is, and just like the emphasis that you guys put on songwriting throughout your songs?
Yeah, it starts with a melody. It starts with a riff. It could start with a little idea that you think of in the shower, right? It starts with that one seed. And again, Elias is the guy. We're gonna push him the idea and see what he comes up with, right? We'll expand on that idea, and it's we try to tell a story through the music. George is the one who hunts for the vocalists, right? And like you said before, he tries to find people that aren't usually in EDM, because it's nice to kind of cross genres and expose people to some music that they might never had listened to, and we send off the song to the vocalists, and they do their thing, and they really connect to it on a personal level. I don't think they would take the song unless they had a connection to it, and that's the goal, right? We want everyone to be connected to the song, either the people making it and then as well as the people listening to it as well. So we try to elicit those emotions from us and then the listener.
Yeah, the songwriting has always been an important step in our productions.
Yeah.
And I feel like whenever we've worked with a vocalist and have really sat down and spoke about themes or hardships that we've gone through, or what they may have gone through, it always sparks so much magic, and that's how yours truly came to be. And I think that song, especially, just the vocals on it are incredible, and I think without those vocals, the song would be a cool track, but just the vocals are so important, and the songwriting is so important, and Affinity is very right when saying that.
Yeah.
I'll just add really quickly. I feel like although it can't happen every time, I feel like I myself am a perfectionist, and I don't like sending things out unless like they're super done, or like at least super sendable to a vocalist to listen to. But yeah, I'm trying to step out like of my comfort zone, because I'm learning that like you can send out whips and like things don't have to be super done.
Yeah.
But I guess that's where we differ. Like we'd like to have it really fleshed out, because I really want them to, I guess, experience and know exactly what I'm going for in emotion. And oftentimes Undie really is like one of those, I know exactly what I'm going to do when she hears what I'm sending her. So, and there's so many. I mean, I feel like the same thing happened with Oliver. Oliver nailed that.
Yeah.
It fits the instrumental so nicely. And Next Life is going to be the exact same. Nice little perfect merging, all different types of vocals.
Yeah.
You know, it all might have a similar theme on, I guess, how we songwrite, but it's that unique songwriting in the vocalists and how they're going to bring the entire other half that is so important,
Right.
that George, Peter, and Affinity are all saying.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, instrumentals are great, but we really are, I don't want to say nothing, but we really owe it to these vocalists, and they're just as part of the work of art and the process. So that was also a huge thing. We were so stoked with R&J because it was another one that was just perfectly crafted
Right.
to that instrumental, and I feel like it was a perfect representation of who we are as artists and what we're doing.
Yeah. It's a nice surprise when, you know, you send a whip over to someone and then they send something back. We have no idea what they wrote, and we listen to it and we're like, damn, like this fits perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice feeling because all we do is give them a theme or an idea and they completely run with it. And it's like, wow, like you really like, you know, went inside yourself and got those emotions out and then sang into the mic. You know what I mean? So like it's nice to see when that happens. And we've been fortunate enough that a lot of our songs are like that, where the vocalist really opens up and shares their story with us, you know, and allows everyone to resonate with it.
We don't even give them a melody line
Yeah.
to sing to it with full creative freedom, and then we're just so stoked when we hear it. It's like a
Christmas.
Yeah, it's like Christmas. Yeah, you're like opening a present. It's like, oh, yo, you have no idea what's about to happen. Have fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess
and
it's almost
so
like
cool.
the other half of the track, right? So you kind of have like your bit, and then it's like them doing their bit. It's almost like a full-on collab. You're kind of like, you've got one piece of it, and then you're waiting for the other piece, but you don't know what that's going to sound like. I guess it's fun to kind of work like that, especially when a vocalist puts like all of the emotion and the storytelling and everything into it. You briefly spoke about Yours Truly then. I thought that was a good segue for us to kind of go deep dive into that a little bit. Definitely one of the popular ones from you guys. Also got like a bunch of TikTok recognition and stuff. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Kind of how that came about and that?
Yeah. Twin Lights and Undy are incredible humans and incredible producers, artists. And that one came about so easily. And, you know, the backstory behind it was a self-release song. It was on our Sincerely EP. And, you know, at the time, we were talking to a lot of different people. And one conversation that we had really resonated with us, where someone downplayed it a little bit, and it kind of sparked something in us, where we really felt like we wanted to prove them wrong. So what we did was, at the time it was at around 50,000 streams, and, you know, without any, you know, plan or anything, we decided to go on TikTok and really just take pictures, like SpongeBob pictures, random pictures, and make them into memes of the song, and just write the lyrics on one, and then, you know, write a meme on the other. And I have no idea how, but it went from 50,000 streams to 300,000 people seeing it on TikTok, and you know, consistently posting, you know, Yours Truly. It took it from 50,000 to now it's sitting at almost under 1 million.
Yeah.
170,000.
Yeah. So that's the story behind it.
TikTok, man.
TikTok.
I'm gonna say one thing though, because even if it wasn't intentional, he's low key a genius, because I'm being completely serious. He was building stories, even though it might be silly at the surface level. it really is the nostalgia and the stories that is built around those images. That's exactly what TikTok wants.
Yeah.
You know, they say it in their guidelines
We did a little bit of research on that. Yeah.
you want to have like 3 images and they're all alternating, and there's the song in the background, and you can write lyrics on one of them. You can write whatever you want, like why are you crying, or this like it's things like that though, because it's engaging and it really fits that song. Like there were a lot of concepts where it was like, why are you locked in your room listening to that song over and over again? And then that's that type of song. It's like, wow, I got to hear that again. Yeah. It is like the complete acoustic for like 90%, and then ends it off with that nice chiller type melodic drop. And there are countless amounts of songs out there that follow that format that have been very successful, that I can't remember like when they came out, but Walk Me Home. Yeah. What's another one that I keep forgetting? We do actually have a song dropping tomorrow that follows the format, but after that, Universal. Yeah. So I missed I missed that. Did you want to say it? Or? Go for it. So I guess at some point down the line, we got in contact with Universal, and they actually picked up the song, which I guess technically the EP too, but not really. They had to take the EP because it was on the EP. Yeah. So I guess the EP is technically signed to Universal, but it's mostly yours truly. Yeah. But now it kind of like is a little iffy, but because we can't really promote it because of the the ban on the music bans. Yeah. But this one video of Undy though, I use it all the time for promo. Just that raw emotion, man, in that video that she did, like in the actual song and that video, like she's the exact same. Yeah, it's crazy. That I know I've said it so many times, but man, the raw talent in her as an artist, like you gotta work with her. It's you gotta reach out, gotta make some great tunes. But from going from having a little bit, I guess, running like a small little Submit Hub campaign on relevant playlists, to getting it around 50,000 streams, then to ultimately flipping it completely with 2 or 3 massive TikToks that happen to get like 200-300K each, and then making, it's all about consistency too, though, I must say. Even if you're not getting a crazy amount, don't get me wrong, I'm super proud and happy that the algorithm picked it up to those numbers that it did. But there were also quite a few where it was like, 5 to 10K views on TikTok. And those all add up because you're really giving Spotify enough information of people that are enjoying it so that they can really push it out to others that are also interconnected to the people that are already streaming it. Yeah. And it just sets off a chain reaction that's incredible. Like I've never seen anything like it. And I'm just listen, it's nothing without Undy too though. Yeah. Undy was so crucial, Twin Lights, and it all made it come together.
I think, like you said too, I think it shows like it could seem a little silly in concept, the idea that just posting some SpongeBob memes or whatever on top of the song could incite that sort of emotional response. But I think that almost speaks to the emotional level of the song entirely, because really, if anybody listens to it, to me, it's personally my favorite of your guys' discography. So, but like just the sheer emotion that you hear in that song, right? It's pretty easy to see why it would connect with the viewers themselves. But I think just kind of on that topic of Universal as well, I guess we can kind of discuss this topic as well. You guys have done a lot of self-releasing in your discography as well. Obviously you guys are doing a little bit more with labels now, Romeo and Juliet on NCS. But I guess kind of discussing that with the TikTok and whatnot, like what's your guys' opinion on terms of working with labels, self-releasing, pushing your own content, promoting your own content, all the stuff along that lines?
I get nice and close. Here we go. Yeah. Don't be scared to self-release. Oh, oops. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to self-release, because I think we all have this philosophy that you don't necessarily need a label to be successful. And let me explain. So if you self-release enough that you keep you push your songs out, you push your content, you're going to create a community that's around you and your music, right? And that community is going to support you no matter what you put out. So you continually self-release, you build up the catalog, you build up the rep, you build up the community. And then if you want to go the label route, then you have proof that, hey, listen, I can do this, right? I can put out a song and look at my community that I've built, back me up, and look what I can do with content, right? Yeah. So I think if anyone's watching this and you're sitting on a bunch of music, you're like, no label really wants it, and like I don't want to put it out. You put that song out, right? You self-release it, and you put in the work to promo content, TikTok, whatever you decide to do, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it over and over and over again, and you will build up enough traction to be able to go to that next step if that's what you want. But we love self-releasing songs. I mean, it's a new age of releasing music. I guess the way things used to be done, you used to heavily rely on the label to promote and to do everything, and that's in your hands now. So you have the opportunity to do that. And I think that, us as musicians, we should take that and, that responsibility and just run with it and just do it. You guys want to add?
No. I got a small thing.
Yeah, there you go.
The boys and I have collectively, I guess, figured out who's really caring, at least for the labels, because we're still not afraid to release on labels, but we've built our profile. Like, we really know who cares and puts a lot of effort into those types of, promotion and putting together assets and all these things that are super important. And then it's not just like, okay, your song's coming out on this date, see you then. Like, there's so much more out there that can be done and can be given. You just have to find the right label. And they're out there. But, if ultimately there are a couple of great things that come from labels. Like, I know that you can ultimately establish a connection for playing shows, or you get money to promote the track, like advances or royalty advances, this and that. They handle everything. It's great. You don't have to find artwork and all these things that go into a self-release. But ultimately, if you've built your community, like Peter is saying, it's only going to keep growing if you're just consistent with releasing. Like, what do they say? 4 to 8 weeks. If you can do a song every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. Just keep the algorithm on Spotify or all these platforms fed with your music. I know it sounds funny, but you really have to just keep putting out songs. They can't sit on the hard drive.
Yeah. I just want to make it clear that I'm not shitting on labels. I fully appreciate what they do for everyone, what they do for us. I'm just saying that, if you're feeling frustrated that you can't get on a label, then that's okay. Go the self-release route. Yeah, I just want to make that clear that I'm not trashing any labels. I think there's so many good labels that are here for the artist and really help. But again, just don't be scared to release it yourself. Yeah.
But that's the best thing that you can do. Like what Peter was saying, really grow a community and find your niche and find something that you can do every time, so that when your listeners come back, they know exactly what they're going to be hearing in that song, so that they can keep enjoying what you're doing. And I'm not saying don't step out of your comfort zone and like try a completely different thing while still making it like true to your sound. That is totally like celebrated and wanted. Like, keep pushing the boundaries, but keep that niche, build your own little community with or without labels, show the labels that you can do it.
Yeah,
but
that's important.
At that point, like, if you get big enough, you might not even need the label. So it's like a win-win at the end of the day. Just keep doing your craft, put out songs that you're happy about, and eventually there's going to be a label that's super down for the sound that you've created.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think labels, like, in terms of being a music producer, and like, obviously I've been surrounded by like smaller artists and everything for ages, but I definitely think, like, for producers, it's kind of like labels are seen as almost like this: if you get on a label, that's it, like, you've made it, kind of thing, when in reality it isn't the case. And it is, I definitely agree with the whole, like, building a whole audience around you definitely helps, because, like, for me as an artist, if I didn't have my YouTube and my community and stuff that I've been building, I wouldn't have the streams that I have at all. You guys in general, like, there's people in my Discord server that talk about you a lot, and just how, like, interactive you are with the people that listen to your music. And I think as people that do listen to your music, it's very recognizable, the fact that you kind of, like, appreciate everything, and you are very active and all of that, and kind of respect all of that. And I think that going along with the TikTok definitely helps. Yeah, anyway, going back to, we got, like, one more topic which we'll kind of, like, briefly go over. You've got, like, a lot of official, well, you have the ILLENIUM remix, which you already spoke about, but you also have a Two Friends remix, which you briefly spoke about before, about throwing it on SoundCloud and everything. But you also got the collab with Mazzare, and also Fairlane as well. Like, how did those come about? Those seem like a pretty big deal.
Yeah, the Fairlane collaboration, he's one of our biggest inspirations. I can't say enough good things about him. Back in the day, for our first ever show, we opened up for Arm & Hammer in Buffalo, New York, and Fairlane was part of the lineup as well. And for an hour, Tyler Fairlane was talking to us. He was making us feel at home. He was, giving us pointers. He was playing cornhole with us. We lost, but he's been incredible. And we knew that, after, all the information and the guidance that he gave us, that our goal was to really, hone in on this Rocktronic style, and then, make something perfectly crafted for him. And we wrote an entire song with our good friend Noah Thomas, and we pitched it to Fairlane, and he loved it. And we're now in the process of fixing up the vocal a little bit and finishing up production. But it's such a surreal moment, and we always want to stress the importance of just making connections in the EDM scene, regardless of, if you're at a show or if you're in someone's Discord. But all of these collaborations have just come from talking to people and developing a relationship. Same with the Mazzare collaboration. Same exact thing. We fell in love with his pop punk drum and bass style, and after the Ophelia compilation, we just continued to talk, and it sparked some creativity within a song, and it's really cool how things come to play. But we're very fortunate to just meet people and make friends. We don't even call them fans. Everyone is a friend to us. Like, we see people in the crowd at our shows, and they're like, "Oh, I'm such a big fan," and we're always like, "We're friends. We're friends. We'll see you after the show for dinner," or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you want to talk a little bit?
Oh yeah. The only thing I was gonna say was, the connect with Massimo. That was I think I'm actually right. That was my first time ever trying DNB.
Yeah.
It was a lot slower in BPM. We made it a lot faster since then, because to fit his style. But yeah, that was my first time ever, like, merging, I guess, Rocktronic, or merging the rock stuff with DNB. But then it led to the cool opportunity, and we're very thankful for his team and him, when they curated that DNB advent, and our friends Castle were on there too, and Vendetta was on there, and I just feel like that's just another great example. Like we got super close with him. He loves what we do. We love what he does. And he was curating that thing at the time. And then he was just like, hey, do you have anything? And I happened to have a second one. I think it was on the older side of like a demo, but I revamped it. You know, it may not have streamed as well as some of our other songs, but super grateful for the opportunity. Ophelia, love them over there. And it was just such a cool way to merge our style with drum and bass.
Yeah.
You know, and it also wasn't traditional, I guess, drum and bass. Maybe it was a little slower, and like the halftime patterns were different than a full time, but it was still very cool, and we're super fortunate to have been a part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had anything.
I'll say one more thing. I'm just going to go back to the making connections topic. So something that we've been recently trying to do and do more of and really push is, you know, meeting people in person. You know what I mean? So like, you know, you can talk all you want over Discord or over the phone, but like making those like face-to-face connections, making it personal really goes a long way. So like if you know that, you know, a certain artist is in town and you really like them, like go see their show, try to talk to them after the show, DM them, say, hey man, that was a great show. I had a great time. Or, you know, you go with a bunch of other producer friends and music friends and you go to a show and you network, right? Half of this job of being a musician is networking, right? I would love to stay in my basement all day and not leave, right? I mean, it'd be awesome, but that's not what this is, right? This is it's a social job, right? You have to get out and you have to meet people, and a lot of things come from that. You know, even just showcasing who you are as a person. You know, I don't think I've ever spoken to you guys in person. I don't think you've ever really spoken to all of us in the same room in person. And I'm sure you got a different view of who we are and what we do, talking like this rather than just, DMing on Discord. And that's the same thing. Same thing applies when you're in person with someone, right? It's not all about, hey, you want to work with me? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? It's making that networking connection, right? It's like it's being a friend, because that's where it starts, and then it could move to something else. But that's the first step, is like getting yourself out there. Yeah.
Other than getting yourself out there, we're very thankful for the platforms that you guys have built. Every time we go into a stream of yours and you're either reacting to music or you're doing one of your tier lists, it's always such a good time just being surrounded by other artists who share a passion. And it's amazing to see, coming from guys who used to do Twitch and who really tried to build a community. The communities that you have are so tightly packed, and they're always so kind, regardless of the feedback that they're giving to a song, or they can like it or hate it, but they're always so kind and caring. And I think that's we're very thankful for you guys and for your reactions and just for what you do for the EDM community. And I just wanted to slide that in there, because if you're not making connections in person, if you're all the way across
100%.
if you're across the waters, your platforms are literally the best way to make those connections. And we've made a lot of friends. Last Loved, Raymond, we met him in Insko's stream, and he's been such a great friend to us. And
he talks about you guys a lot.
Yeah, he's great. And that's my rant.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it. It's nice.
Yeah, it's just nice to like things like this, the podcast, the interviews. And it just supports everyone, and I think it sheds light on maybe some questions that people have but they don't want to ask. And we're trying to give the best answer possible. And like George said, it's because guys like you who are doing what you guys love to do and helping the music community out. This is how we progress as an EDM world. You know, we keep doing these things. So thank you, and to everyone else who is doing this kind of stuff. It really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I mean,
Thanks, man.
that
Appreciate it.
seems like a really great way to end it. If there's anything else that you want to talk about, is there anything else at all?
Nothing that we can talk about right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's
Exciting
your,
stuff.
What's your
Yeah.
what's your jobs outside of EDM?
Right now I'm in between jobs, but it's normally just like I've been doing a lot of bar work and stuff at the moment, just
Sweet.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I'm just in school right now, just trying to get through.
I feel that.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
There was one stream where I was in your stream and you were talking about some relationship issue that you had going on, and I was dying the entire time. And I love how personable
I think I
you
remember
get.
that.
Yeah, you were talking about, I think, a date that you went on or something, but I think it's so cool how personable you guys get in your streams. And
yeah.
we're really big on that, because like we love seeing the type of person that people are. Next Life coming out in April, Courtesy coming out tomorrow, a self-release. So it's gonna be a fun couple of months moving forward. So yeah,
We're stoked for it, man.
It's honestly been great to like see how you guys have just been like progressing so much recently. I think like
thank you.
I can't even remember when I first found your music, to be completely honest. I'm sure I probably got recommended it. That's kind of how I found most of the artists originally.
Yeah.
But I definitely think the Hate Me remix from Two Friends was definitely like one of the biggest like things I've really loved from you guys, and then just kind of following
Thank
from
you.
there. So keep up the amazing work with everything.
Absolutely.
And
Appreciate
it's great
you.
to see you guys doing so well. And thank you so much for coming on to the podcast as well. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
If I'll say this to the viewers watching, if you did enjoy this podcast and you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe to the channel as it's a new channel. Or if you're watching it on Spotify, save it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever. We post every fortnightly, so we'll have a new episode soon.
All SadBois links will be in the description as well. Check out their stuff if you haven't yet. We'll put all their stuff in the YouTube description, so be sure to check out their stuff. If you're on Spotify, it's one click away. So
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for coming on. It's been lovely chatting to you.
Absolutely. You guys too.
Likewise.